Right, hello everybody and welcome to FRL's Super Sprint Sunday. We are here, round 3, Red Bull Ring, the shortest track on the calendar, for some high octane action for your Sunday evening. Joining me as ever for this wonderful ride on this fantastically wet circuit is my good friend, Retro Ghost Owen. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing very well, mate. Thank you very much. So another week, another Sprint Sunday. Great to be back for another instalment of Super Sprint Sunday. So we are running all 3 tiers as per usual. So just waiting for technology to do its thing and get the standings up. But whilst we do that, so guys, do drop a comment in the comment box below. Who are you rooting for? Who's your favourite? Who are you supporting? Who's going to spin it, win it and bin it throughout all the qualifying sessions and race sessions? Obviously the format for tonight is a 5-minute one-shot quali for a race 1 20-minute sprint, shortly followed by a 15-minute qualifying set up for race 2. So obviously guys do get another second chance to re-qualify if they do not like the place they qualified in qualifying 1, and then shortly followed by a 40-minute race 2. So once race 1 has finished, guys, do not go anywhere. It will kick off very shortly with another qualifying.
Now, you will have to excuse us for the hecticness that is going to be this sprint qualifying. We have 35 drivers for this evening and only about 4 miles worth of track. So it's going to be mighty tight out there. There's going to be a skill all in itself for these drivers to find that small little gap in the Red Bull Ring to push on and get on. As ever, Surfontaine has done a fantastic job at being the first one out of the queue, so he's going to be the first driver that we do follow around. For those who are new to the stream, the colour indications on your left, all those with the white boxes are the pro tier drivers. They are considered the fastest amongst this evening, followed by the grey boxes, which are the silver tiers, and then we have the red boxes, which are the AM tier drivers, which are considered the slowest, maybe newer drivers to sim racing, but all the same, they are here and they do qualify well here and there. That being said, they do have their own all individual championships, but when the rubber hits the asphalt, they are all game for all positions. They are not tiered cars, just tiered drivers. So they can go out, they can bang wheels, they can throw moves into corners, all the same. There is an overall championship to be contended with. There are no easy passes here, which is what we love to see. Every single position should be hard fought. Now Surfontaine won't have very long to warm his tyres up. He's coming up to the penultimate bend now. Now Retro, wherever you want to set up this, what would you do? Would you slowly creep it round the penultimate turn, or would you going to throw it through?
Well, I mean, in my good old fashion of sim racing, you know, if you're not pushing, then you're not racing. So obviously, clearly, you just got to go full pedal to the metal and give it absolutely everything, like Surfontaine is clearly doing down the start straight now, which is great to see.
Yeah,
now
the drivers behind him haven't left too much room. Here he goes. Very nice cut at the first turn. Roll it out. Once you feel that yellow sausage curb on the outside of turn 1, that's when you know to open up your steering and get going. Turn 2 doesn't really exist here. Even in these GT3 cars, like F1, it is completely flat. Maybe maybe don't be so aggressive with your steering before you enter turn 3, which is a very tight uphill hairpin. Uses the camber of the turn, gets the car turned and powers down. Maybe a bit of short shifting in this weather. Now this back straight isn't necessarily that straight. As you can see on the map, it does curve a little bit, but it's sort of flat all the same. Throw your car over to the left hand side, brake in a straight line, open the corner up and swing through turn 4. The car will dip down onto the outside towards the gravel, but as the camber comes back, you can flick over to the right. Up the hill he goes and into this off camber turn. You want to get to the inside to reduce the camber effect. Throw the car downhill in a low gear and slowly pick up the throttle as you go towards turn 7. We want to try and straighten the car up as we go through here. You do want to take quite a bit of curbing on the inside, of turn 7. Don't really need to get too close to the turn 8 curb. And now powering down towards turn 1, the most crucial corners on the track. You need to carry a lot of speed. Don't invalidate on the outside, but Servantaine's done a great job of that. Quite conservative for his first lap. Beautifully kissed on the inside, And as he's going to get a bit of slipstream as he comes to finish this lap, he's going to start us off with a 1 minute 33.5, which is then quickly beaten by Mr. Grafe, who was just behind him on track.
And so you then had Mr. Richings in the Ferrari, just slightly off Southampton time in the same tier. Heyman's in the silver tier, did jump them as well, but so we do have Malotti that take provisional P1, but then we also had Vermeulen as well. It's just hotting up, guys. Say P1 at the moment for Vermeulen, 131.5.
So yeah, this is only sprint qualifying, so this will be their one and only run. Vermeulen on pole currently. If you check your bingo cards, which were given out this evening, that is on there. So for those who are a bit newer to us, if you were in the Discord earlier, you would have seen an official bingo card has been made for the FRL Super Sprint Sunday stream. We are creatures of habit and we love saying the same thing. So if you fancy, I don't know, tying that in with a shot, a snack, maybe a pinch on your partner's shoulder, maybe sign off your bingo cards with a bit of fun whilst the stream is going on. No one's really challenging Vermeulen just yet. We're going to go down the grid and see if we can find Mr. Sharp in the NSX, which has been taken on by a few of the admins this season. In the blue and yellow with the black bottom Honda NSX. Takes a lot of curb on the outside. And what can he do for himself? Goes from P25. Oh, that's P2. Still over half a second down on Vermeulen, who's currently on pole. We've got car 114 still coming around. Let's pick them up. What, they already set a lap, car 114? And we believe that's everybody who's due to set a lap. Car number 18 was spinning off in the middle sector. Got car 134, that's Mr. Brown, who's reversed his colours for us this evening. I'm not sure if you saw that one, Retro. To make it a little bit easier for us on the eye, make himself a bit more noticeable as he runs our faces over with that camera angle.
I think he's that much noticeable, I still can't see him on the leaderboard.
He's on a WRC leaderboard, isn't he?
Oh yeah, so he's on the wrong game again. You see, when we originally started commentating, it was a complete opposite. It was Gedman with the bright tennis ball yellow Porsche, who has gone back to an all black Porsche with a pink accented lights with the blue wheels. And I still can't find Mr. Brown.
As he's just,
P2.
My goodness, Mr. Brown, and then pipped by Leica.
Oof.
In the Aston Martin. So Brown momentarily went from 0 to hero, then quickly bumped down to the second row by Leica. So that is sprint qualifying quickly done. Vermeulen on pole, mark that off on your bingo cards. Followed by Leica, and then this pro tier lockout down to P6 with Brown in P3. Very well done for him. Adam Sharp followed by Malotti, and then Nichelle rounds off the top 6 in the front 3 rows in the pro tier. A sprint pole for Heymans in the silver tier, followed by Couters and Critelli in P9. Jabino takes a pole in the AM tier in P10. Patrice Derrick taking a P11 for the silver tier, and then Karuna and Grave a bit dispatched from their pro rivals in P12 and 13. Thacker and Klugin with second and third in the AM tier in P14 and 15. And then Filomeno, Eden, Van Vlotten, Visser, Serfontaine, Richings, and Van der Waal down to P22. Then we have an assortment of AM drivers starting with Trotman, Felix in the silver tier, Naisbitt in the pro tier, Townsend, Cablo, Coppens, De Wilt in silver tier, Handley, Chumakovs, Kokomalakis, Gedman, let's not set, well, all these drivers from Handley, Chumakovs, Kokomalakis, Gedman, Grace, Colpitts, and Roberts, all electing not to set a time. Maybe they are concerning themselves with the turn 3 in the Red Bull Ring. It is a tricky one. Very wide entry corner with a very hard crank on your steering.
I think that might be a bit of mind games there, buddy. I think starting all the way from back there for turn 3 is probably a safer bet than being in the middle of what is going to be an absolute meat sandwich for turn 3.
So now, guys, if you're new to ACC at all, you do just have to wait for the server to reset, and there we have it. Got a bit of a countdown while the drivers adjust their fuel for the 20 minutes. It is a sprint. Hello, Ricardo. Thank you for joining us on this pleasant rainy evening. Let us know if you're back, if you're racing this evening. Let us know if you are backing yourself or backing somebody else, or if you're here for support. But yeah, no mandatory pit stops in this, refueling or tyres, and the drivers can go pedal to the metal from start to finish. With the track being so short, they should get a lot of laps in this evening. But whilst we've got a few minutes, we'll let you know obviously how you can get involved. FRL is a fantastic community. We run ACC, Assetto Corsa, Formula One, WRC, iRacing. If you name it, if it's sim racing online on console or PC, FRL has got you covered. If you want to drop a comment in the YouTube comments, an admin will reach out to you and give you a link to the Discord and SimGrid if necessary, depending on what your taste is for sim racing. If
that does taste or wet your whistle for any sort of racing, and you do want to become a dedicated member of the server, our Patreon does start as little as a few pounds a month, so you can get involved, reserve your special race number, get all behind the scenes details, all the action, everything from FRL, the absolute fantastic place to be. Reserve, priority, anything, absolute anything related to the server you get your hands on before even the commentators do, really, which is a nice benefit to have. So you could go, oh, Retro, are you commentating here on Silverstone this week? Are we? Am I?
Are we? We have got no idea. They keep us in the dark. But they give you Patreon members a little flashlight to guide your way through the darkness. So yeah, get involved. And you also get your own Patreon server as well. So your own little practice server. To get those extra miles in, to get an edge over Retro at his favourite Silverstone, and they can go home and cry and get signed on to therapy for wondering why people who just pay a few pounds a month diminish his ability to win at Silverstone.
We wasn't going to talk about that. It was a bit of a sensitive subject, right? I'm still paying for it now.
Yeah, I'm sorry, dude, but you know, bringing these things to light is what is how we heal.
20 seconds.
That's it, guys. First sign to admitting you have a problem is admitting you got a problem.
10 seconds.
For anybody else who suffers from race time PTSD from not having access to the Patreon, so you can sign up to racing therapy for just £3 a month in the Patreon.
Oh, you said it. We did the whole Patreon thing without dropping the L
Hey,
for the bingo card.
If you're gonna
I
offer
said a few. I said a few pounds, and you went and said the number 3. Oh, Mister.
No,
Wood,
mark that
right
off on your
there.
bingo cards.
Have a free Beyond Greg, but you don't get free Patreon though. You
No.
only get a free bingo card slot.
Also helps us put gasoline in the chopper for when we need to get up
Oi,
in the air.
don't be dropping them. We didn't discuss who wins if we complete the card by saying so many shenanigans, or whether they get a prize for completing the shenanigans card.
I can't remember which corners we're working from here, but I'm not looking at it, promise. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. Everybody that has joined in to our nonsense so far. Bermuda is leading the cars around for this very short outlap. It's quite tricky to get tyre temps in here. I'd like to think we'd have seen a bit more weaving at this point, but Bermuda does lead them away.
Be interesting to see whether it will get as wet and soggy like it did in Mazzano just a couple of rounds ago, or whether the weather will hold out and not become a soggy bottom. But so we do have the drivers slowly going round.
It's not Bake Off Retro.
Well, you know, bit of the action. Whether these drivers can handle the heat in the kitchen and on the tarmac, who knows?
Yeah, they're not stirring, it was just in the Styrian hills.
Whee. That's definitely got to be a pound in the kitty for bad dad jokes.
One day Retro. They'll come get you.
That's it. Tax evasion. All these pounds in the pot you keep giving me.
Yeah. So for Mullen, he's only got a few more corners to reconcile with. Leica looks like he's just playing a few mind games here. Obviously, the drivers are not set in their positions just yet, but I think they will be now, as you see all the drivers form up 2 by 2, just like they were in the arc, and they'll need an arc to get around here today. Now, Vermeulen will be ruining the fact that it's actually quite a short run uphill to turn 1, so we will not get that much of an advantage starting. And it looks like Leica is also on the inside. So unless Vermeulen can really establish himself around the outside here, this is going to be a really tricky one for him to maintain off the start. Leica is aggressive, he's punchy, and as we know, the Aston Martin completely by itself has got great straight line speed.
Yeah, this track definitely, I think, punishes for the driver that does go on pole to be starting on the outside.
But it looks like we haven't... That's Brown gone onto the wrong side of the grid, it seems.
Green light.
As we are green... Yeah, Brown tactically going onto the wrong side of the grid. Leica's already alongside. Can he get deep on the brakes? Can he keep it on track? Can he keep Vermeulen behind him? Vermeulen takes the wide, but he goes over the sausage curb on the outside. He's going to rejoin wide. That puts Leica ahead. The two NSXs behind are battling as well. They are side by side. Be interesting to see what happens when they get to turn 3. But it looks like Vermeulen has just given up, as we have a Mustang behind going across turn 3. Leica doing great so far to start stretching away from Vermeulen. We expect him to come back. Be very sure about that. We've got 2 Ferraris battling in the background. That's Nishelli and Heymans. And furthermore, we've got Aston and Ferrari. Yeah, Nishelli getting bumped at the rear by Heymans. Heymans, can he slip through? Showing a lot of interest. Heymans just show his nose. Has to back out quite heftily. As the timing screens are just trying to sort themselves out. But Vermeulen now right back on Leica's tail. We knew this was coming. He didn't do too much in terms of tyre warm at the beginning, but Leica did. Maybe that's what gave him the early advantage, but now Vermeulen settled in. We know he's fast. He's pretty much dominated this season so far. Can he pick up the slipstream as early as possible and regain this position that he's lost immediately off the start? Most drivers do seem to be coming around nice and clean. There's a huge...
Oh no, I see Derek on the final corner facing backwards there. Not sure if that was a skill issue or a contact there, but say Derek just spinning around on the lovely outside of the final corner.
But now we have slipstream versus Aston Martin power. Can Vermeulen pressure Leica into maybe take an alternate line? Vermeulen looks the inside, backs out. Respects Leica's ability to brake late into that corner. We've got Nishelli picking up again. He's now trying to move forward. Nishelli on Critelli. I think this is not updated fully. There's 2 Ferraris diving into turn 4. Oh, as we have a touch. I think that's Critelli gone round. Do apologise, guys. It's a short track and the timing boards are not updating particularly fast. But Leica's still doing well to keep this lasso going, as that looked like Sharp going heavy over the curbing. He's kind of dropping Brown now, and that is allowing Malotti to chase him up as well.
So at the moment Sharp does have fastest lap as they are going to come round to the final corner again.
Oh, but what a gaggle we've got coming into the penultimate bend now. Got the BMW of Grace trying to throw one on the inside of Thacker. Oh, what a sweep through. He's got that one done. The power of the Beamer seems to be working well here. Vermeulen lining up Leica again. As a round turn 2, Vermeulen switching early to the inside. Will this be high commitment into the turn? No, he backs off again. We've on board with Richings. Further ahead, sorry, we've got Grace trying on the inside. of Van Vloten.
Oh, sorry, buddy. I think we do have a run side by side of Michelle, and I think that is Jabino into the heavy braking zone on the inside. But look at Critelli behind. The Ferrari's gone wide there. 959. The Shelly's gone deep.
He has to try and cut back in. Can he throw him back up the inside of Jabino? Jabino, will you just go back to the Lamborghini? I associate you too heavily with the Lamborghini. Go back. I had one friend.
Saying about before the start of the
sorry,
stream
Nishelli's just gone over the bumps, and now he's vulnerable. Oh my goodness, who is that? 959. That's Nishelli, and he's gonna have a lot of drivers having to avoid him.
He just about got to the pits there, but I think that was Morgan Grace there that just about missed him by absolute.
Oh, as Vermeulen goes a little bit deep, turn 1. He was right up behind Leica. Can he use his extra speed? No. Looks like he might get caught by Sharp here.
Sharp.
Yeah, Vermeulen definitely suffering on speed here. Sharp is going to try and throw one up the outside. Vermeulen covers it off. And Bellotti has really closed in on Brown now. I think this move's just a matter of time.
So down in P14 you've got a big train. Richins trying to go round the outside of Thacker. You got Vlotten just in front.
What can he do for traction? Richings, he's done well so far, but the Porsche is a bit of a demon on traction. Having not got away very well, Van der Waal has now invited himself into this fight. Will there be a switch to the inside of turn 4? He goes for it. Richings pulls out. Oh, he avoids. But then can he keep himself out from behind Thacker? He does so well not to take Thacker with him. Oh, as he goes at him again. There's such a tight group in the midfield.
And slightly further down as well, I do believe Gedman, Q Robert, I think that is Grafe, where it hasn't updated, has overtaken 2 cars. It's just now updated, it's now P23. So he's gone past 2 cars before the time the screen's updated there.
Oh, so then we see Grafe.
Shape there.
Yeah, Grafe had a massive drift around turn 8.
A big cork in the bottle there from, say, P24.
I think it was Visser going through on the inside. Now he's going for another one. Looked initially on the outside of Robert, just ahead. He's moving left and right, trying to find the space to put one on him. Eventually loses out as he comes out of the slipstream.
He gets a great drive out of turn 1, I think, but the Porsche once again, absolute traction demon.
That's skill versus car capability. And it looks, look on the timing screens, that Leica has finally pulled a bit of a gap to Vermeulen. So maybe this bingo card might not get completed. But it looks like he's found another 3 attempts back in just in the last sector. So he's going to make me eat my words if I carry on. We've got Filomeno trying to close in on Grace, who's taking the scenic route around turn 7. Cars settling in now. Yeah, Vermeulen done a great job to come back at Leica. Must have made a mistake some point further back. It's this straight line speed of Leica. It's just Vermeulen, unless he can get an advantage off a traction zone, he's just nothing he can do against the raw pace of that Aston Martin. But again, on the traction, just not enough. We go further down the field. We've got Van Vloten in the Ferrari trying to overtake the BMW of Filomeno going into turn 3. Van Vlotten's got the inside and he's got that done cleanly, but then Filomeno, beautiful cutback on the inside, and the BMW power, the boat just powers away. And now Thacker in the Porsche using his great traction and the poor exit of Van Vloten
Look at Richards
Almost.
behind. Oof. I thought Richards behind was going to get a bit close to Thacker there.
As I've just gone back up to the front, Vermeulen now back underneath 4/10 to Leica. He really needs to pressure Leica into a mistake here. I think that's the only way he's going to really get this done. Leica is putting perfectly good lap times in, perfectly good stout defense with his traction. He needs Leica to make a mistake. As Leica, for the first time, actually changes his line to go defensive. He's finally considering the threat of Vermeulen to be a problem. Both get equal drive out the corner. Now we see in so many races here, the battle into turn 3, the pressure just ramps up and ramps up and ramps up. Vermeulen has another look. Both drivers so evenly matched. But Leica once again has to go defensive. He's feeling the pressure. Absolutely, he's feeling the pressure.
We are halfway through, not over yet.
So slightly further down, back into turn 3. Big send from Van der Waal down the inside of Thacker. Oh, and then Richards also gets a move down the inside of Thacker there. Fuming, but Thacker then gets a good drive out in the Porsche traction. Can he get alongside? He's just about got a wheel dipped in for turn 4. Is he going to try a cut back?
Ooh, as Richings goes deep into that turn.
Oh, Thacker nearly licked his lips at that, but thought a little bit better of it.
You know, Thacker finally has to back out of that one. But with the threat of Van der Waal coming, appreciate that. M. Grace closing up on Jabino, who was originally leading the AM class after qualifying, has been dropped by about 6 seconds back from Kalugin, is now being chased by Grace. And I've just picked up Grafe in P21. The Ford down the inside of the BMW into turn 1. All's fair, but all the same, Hanley in the BMW goes wide, sacrifices the position, and then loses out to Chumakovs on the exit. But can Chumakovs keep it? He can. Chumakovs can in fact keep it. The BMW does come back strong though. Chumakovs has to go a little bit defensive, goes to the inside the track, lets the car sweep out so not scrub his tyres, moves a little bit defensively into turn 4. Go back to the battle for the lead. Quarter of a second is the gap. Oh, as Leica gets a bit of a tap over turn 1. He's gone wide. He has to rejoin the track. Leica has now lost a lot of speed. Vermeulen is fully alongside now. This is the chance that Vermeulen has been waiting for. Leica does to have regained speed and traction, but Vermeulen is now well cemented on his inside. Vermeulen has to send the dive now. He absolutely has to. He gets the move done initially. Leica will then try and cut back and use that Aston Martin power, but Leica does seem to have lost a little bit of traction, but he has found the inside as he goes down the back straight. He's coming down towards turn 4. He reverses the rolls back on Vermeulen. Is he brave enough on the brakes to take this one? Will he allow Vermeulen space on the outside? They seem to. Will they touch? We've lost that camera, but we come back round. And they touch, sends Vermeulen wide. Vermeulen rejoins on off the grass, does great job, a bit of WRC there as it comes back on. But that has given Sharp the position. It didn't look like he was massively squeezed by Leica, but in these conditions, car control is so tricky. As we just seem to see Leica just clipping a little bit. And now Brown, having dropped Malotti, started to concentrate on his lap times and is now made a bit of a sandwich out of Vermeulen. can only
So
presume.
slightly further down, buddy, I'm going to interrupt you there. We've got Grace and Jabino, BMW versus McLaren. Sorry, Ferrari fighting for P9.
As they're going to come into turn 9. Jabino in the Ferrari, not the Lamborghini. Cuts back in.
Gets a good drive out the final corner, does Jabino. But the BMW boat, we all know, loves a bit of straight line speed.
Loves to go a bit defensive as well. Oh, Jabino! Oh, takes that big yellow sausage curve on the inside. Almost Spartan spears himself into the back of M. Grace, and that gives Grace, for the time being at least, a bit of breathing room.
Oh, we missed something there, buddy. Oh, I'm not sure what's happening there. We've got Chamakovs and another car.
Oh, sorry.
Serpentine.
So at the front, sorry, Richard, we've got Vermeulen going through on sharp, and that almost had the NSX boys swapping positions.
No, he has.
Oh, Brown has.
Brown has overtaken Sharp. I don't think it's going to last very long though, because look at Sharp. Look at sticking his nose out.
He keeps going. But Vermeulen has got quite... I can only presume this track's drying there, because Leica is gone to the right hand side. I can only presume to pick up water, because it's still raining, but Vermeulen was nowhere near him.
Well, the track is currently registering damp, buddy, so I mean it's definitely drying, but I wouldn't say it's wet enough to probably keep the heat or keep the tyres cooled in these wet conditions. But I mean, it does look like it is slowly drying out, so it might add a bit of a twist to qualifying 2 and race 2.
So I've just picked up the battle for P12. Van der Waal in the McLaren is pushing on with Felameno.
So slightly behind you do have Thacker and Richings. Once again, Naisbitt joining the back, a bit late on the brakes there, but to close up the gap.
There's Thacker once again, still using the advantages that Porsche brings. Vermeulen has done a good job. He's found half a second in this lap on Leica to try and bring this back to him. Leica, aside from the error that lets... Oh! As that's Brown! Brown has binned it into the pit wall!
Oh, Mr. Brown.
Testing barriers. And
I thought that was Gedman's job to test the barrier, not you, Brown.
It's clearly a shared admin duty.
Wouldn't find barriers in WRC, would you, buddy?
No, just cliff faces. The nasty business. But now Vermeulen back underneath a second. He's only maybe got 2 laps left to make this move. But it's one thing to catch, it is another thing to pass.
But speaking of passing, we've got P14 Richins right under the spoiler of Van der Waal there for the battle for P13. Taking a run up to turn 3. Who's going to be braver on the brakes?
Van der Waal goes defensive. But can Richings line up on the exit?
So
Maybe a
Filomeno
small...
was off track just in front there.
That's going to be nothing but of a distraction for Van der Waal. Richings closing. Van der Waal goes defensive once again. Just puts his car slightly towards the middle of the track. Oh, as on the exit, Van der Waal and Richings touching as Richings goes through. But Van der Waal now dives it back down the inside for turn 7. They touch again. Brilliant racing, keeping it side by side through there. But now Richings has got it ahead for turn 7. Does a great job to hold on to that. But now can Thacker do anything with his traction?
So So just an update on the lead here, buddy. So Vermeulen is just about 2.5 tenths under the spoiler of the Aston Martin there. Trying to go defensive for turn 3. Big on the brakes there from Vermeulen.
Oh my goodness! It's 2016 all over again. He went deep. He took the position. Leica's not happy about it. Leica's flashing. Come on, guys. An eye for an eye. It's not worth it. Leica is going to attempt to cut back. This is getting punchy now. Leica trying to go around the outside. The turn 6. Now ducks back to the inside. It's a brilliant move if he can get the traction on the exit. As he sent Vermeulen round. Vermeulen is round and he's facing the grandstand.
Sharp goes through.
Sharp goes through, but Leica's still there. Leica can still make an impression. Vermeulen dropping down the drama that is unfolding.
Did Sharp let him through?
I'm quite sure, but Leica knows that Vermeulen has returned to track in, I think it's P4. I think there's definitely going to be an incident report, as it looks like Leica has pulled over to let Vermeulen through. Has also let Heyman slip through as well in that attempt. Hey, brilliant result for Heyman's.
Yeah, I think as much as that is good sportsmanship, but I don't condone stopping on a live racetrack like that.
So all of this will be impacted by the stewards, I'm sure, regardless of the position being handed back. It has cost him overall in this race. There's no race 1 win for Vermeulen, the man who's been dominating the championship so far. That honour goes to Sharp in the Honda NSX, followed by Malotti, who's done a great job. Spent most of that race in P5 to then come home with a P2, followed by Vermeulen and Heymans in P4 with a silver class win. And Leica, who was toying with the race win, but with an incident on the final lap, showing his sportsmanship to let Vermeulen finish ahead, but does linger down in P5. Brown ultimately then recovered well after testing the pit wall, brings it home in P6. And Critelli, P7. And then Kalugin with a AM tier win in P8. M. Grace defended his position in P9, keeping Jabinho off his back with a P2 for Jabinho in the AM class. A bronze medal for Van Vlossen in the silver tier. He finishes P11 overall by Filomeno, Richings and Van der Waal. 12 to 14. Thacker in the AM tier, P15. Naisbitt, P16 for the pro tier. Kokovalakis in P17 for the AM tier. Colpitz, P18. Grafe, P19. Karuna, P20. Then we have Hanley, De Rick, Robert, Trotman, Chumakovs, Visser, De Wilt, Gedman, Eden and Cablo are your 21 to 30. Then we have Serpentine, Townsend, Felix, Nichelle, Coppens and Cooters that round off the bottom of the grid. But don't go anywhere, guys. We have 50 minutes of qualifying, followed by another sprint race, but this time double the length at 40 minutes. Apologise for the cough, guys. I am just recovering from a bit of a cold, so apologise if you're a bit of man flu. So apologise if your stream is at all affected, or you have post-Christmas fever trauma. I'm not here to trigger anybody.
It's just more like my eardrums. Oh, and then he finally mutes. Tells the world he's suffering from man flu, and then decides to mute himself.
Only so I can take a drink.
It only took you 39 minutes.
I know. But there was so much action in this that I couldn't possibly leave it, even to have a subtle cough. away from prying eyes. As Dazza Townsend just drop into the comments and say, "Oh God, something dramatic clearly happened to him," or if he was watching, he saw a bit of craziness at the front. All is possible. As Brown in the Discord said, "Wow, nosebleed section way up here." And he definitely got a nosebleed after what happened to him. As M. Grace says that he went from P34 to P9. It was like Moses passing the Red Sea into turn 3.
So the lights are flickering on for qualifying 2, ladies and gentlemen. It is dark and still wet.
So yeah, tricky for our drivers. As my God, no lights on this track at all. No light pollution in the Styrian Hills. We're looking after all the beavers, all the rabbits, all the hares, all the bears. So yeah, this should be fun, unpicking this one in the dark. But like I said, we've got 15 minutes of qualifying to give you before we go into our sprint race. And Malotti is that man who's going to kick us off.
I mean, I'm going to be honest, buddy. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm trying to pick a camera here where I can see the car. And some of the dark, obviously designed cars, I can barely see. It's just a pair of brake lights just floating around my screen.
Yep. As we pick up Malotti could literally be anything coming towards the line here. But here we go. He's approaching turn 1 with some traffic coming out just in front of him, but hopefully should be able to ride on them. Doesn't pick out the first apex as effectively as he might have done during the day. But he's going to approach turn 2, which is totally flat. He goes up the hill. Feels a bit more confident using the curb this time around, it seems, though, so he can open the corner a bit more. Goes all the way to the outside curbing as well. And it looks like he's that bit more confident. The track is reading wet, but we're reducing rain about 30 minutes in from our weather radar. So Malotti switching it out for turn 6. Down the cambered hill. Blinds us in that corner cam and the rumple strip. If you do suffer from any sort of epilepsy, please turn away when the cars are pointing directly at the camera. As he takes a wonderful final turn, comes towards the line and gives us a 1 minute 33.0. A great way to start us off, as we've got core 444 way off track on entry to the final turn. Sort of cars we can pick up. That's Jabinho dropping in with a time 9/10 down. I think he'll be quite happy with that for the time being. Car 888 coming towards the line. This is Leica. We expect this to be pretty fast. And it is, but not quite pole just yet. It's currently 3.5 tenths down. What about Vermeulen? Where's he gone? Used to looking for just Vermeulen at the top of the screen, so we do apologise.
He's currently, at the moment,
pole.
P1.
He's P1. See, that's where we usually expect him, around about there.
He just mugged you right off.
He has, Annie. Picked up Visser coming around the final couple of turns. Does look like he's invalidated though after the penultimate turn. So we'll see if this lap time gets set. It just didn't look valid. So we know the game likes to be a bit more lenient when the track's wet. Car 444. This is Korkormalakis. It's a great corner to be in the Porsche 4. You need to pick up the power so quickly and get the car turned away from the outside curbing. But he's only just starting his lap. So we'll go on board with Heymans instead, who was down in P26. It was a great timing actually, and a second down, but in P4. As Leica then brings himself closer to Vermeulen, only 1.5 tenths down.
We've had Shelley then set a lap, P3, 4 tenths behind the lead.
Gedman with his fluorescent lights going down the roof of his car. That'll make him easy to spot in these conditions. We've got a bit of a gaggle behind him. They're not managing their
like grab handles in case he rolls it, so you can just pick him up, flip him over, and get him back on again.
I mean, what's that pastime where people go out and deliberately crash their cars and like have them like towed out? It's an actual hobby.
It's like Wreckfest, like banger racing, isn't it? Kind of sort of thing, isn't it?
I don't even think it's racing. I think they just go out, try and complete courses.
Oh, like demolition derby, isn't it?
Yeah, they go out. There's these people that go out and literally just deliberately crash their cars in mud and stuff, and they have to try and like winch themselves out.
Yeah,
strikes me the sort of thing that Gedman would do. But he just wander in, and they just treat him like a god for constantly finding the best barrier to crash into.
We could go so many avenues with that, but no, we're going to keep the stream friendly and non-antagonising or abusive. But I mean, if we're talking about Gedman and crashing, he would be out of the race or out of the derby before it even started, because he'd be backwards in the barrier.
Or, as we see Van Vlossen going wide at the first turn. But Townsend, he's hoping for better than 4.5 seconds down. Oof. Goes towards the line.
Vermeulen has gone even faster now.
Yeah, that's about 4 tenths improvement over Leica. The gauntlet has been set.
So I think that's the thing as well, having, say, this fantastic league, and obviously cross-play league, obviously between Xbox and Sony PlayStation. Some of the Xbox drivers, as they're driving around, looks like they've got no lights on, guys. I mean, that isn't them. They're not silly. They do have their lights on. It's just a glitch on the game when we're spectating. So hopefully, fingers crossed, Leica can see, and he's not just doing this all completely blind. But Malotti has separated Leica and Vermeulen, knocking Leica to second row.
I wasn't going to say anything, but you said that the Xbox drivers can see and they're not doing anything untoward, but saw Gedman go wide and then bound over the curb, and he appears to be. So, hate for you to eat your words like I've gone off cereal, mate, but. What about 985? This is Felix coming towards the line. He's currently P22, 2.2 seconds down. Pulls himself up into P18. That's about 2.5 tenth improvement. So well done him. .737. That's Grafe. Stays P17 for now, does he? Yes, he does. About Sharp coming towards the line. In his Honda. Ooh! Absolutely pips Malotti and Leica. Puts himself up in P2. That's Malotti. Coming towards the line. No improvement for him at the moment. Car number 19. We do apologise, guys. We struggle to remember all of them off by heart. That's Jabinho coming towards the line.
You should remember him. Oh wait, no, he's still in the wrong car
He's
again.
still in the wrong car, Jabinho.
I think that's got to be one for bingo card next week.
He's in the wrong car.
If you've got a problem, change your car. Obviously, for stream purposes and PG reasons, we will not repeat the full extent of that meme.
No, I mean, we probably could do the back and forth, but we're not going to.
No.
I'm certainly not going to do the accent of Toto in response. Not trying to get us
And I'm not
cancelled.
repeating the vocabulary of Christian Horner either.
Go speak to my drivers. As Brown, in all our madness, has gone P2, 3/10 down from Vermeulen. Well done, him. I wonder if he's done that by actually piercing that barrier. You know, he's completely
he just
cut it.
Yeah. So what he's done is he's done turn 3 fine. He's just won it, or like 90 degreed it towards the barrier, cut before turn 4. Rejoined at about turn 6, I'm assuming, or maybe he's just completely cut sector 2 out.
He's gone, I thought they said it was a ring. It's Red Bull Ring, right? And he's just gone, woo, woo, woo. Anyway, we're going to try and keep all of the admins on our side. So 104 comes towards the line, 51 coming towards the line. This is Derrick going from P9. No improvement as of right now. We've got car number 9 also coming up as well. That is Townsend, who we know is much faster than P35. Puts his McLaren into P28, much more of a respectable time there, only 2.3 seconds down. So he's found 2 seconds in that lap. Well done him. As for Mullen, can he put any more daylight between him and Leica? Leica who's put himself back in P2. As he... Wow! My goodness! Pack it in. Somebody want to have a relook at his ballast? I think he's found a way to uncement the bricks that were weighing down his car before.
I think he's definitely doing something, buddy. I mean, to pull out that much of a gap, even more so.
I think at this point he's just copy and pasting his hot stint times into the server.
I mean, I think it says a lot. I think, to be honest, I think the way that Vermeulen's going round the Red Bull Ring, I think he's lapping faster on a damp or a wet track faster than I probably could on a dry track.
I mean, yeah. As Chumakov jumps a few places to P22. 510 of Q Robert in the Porsche. Round of the final bend. Can he jump a few places in his tier? Yes, he can. Puts himself provisional P3 in the AM tier.
Got Filomeno just behind. Jumps up to P30 there. Car 144.
That's Vermeulen. I mean, we weren't expecting a great improvement on the lap time he set before. Absolute alien lap time.
242. Mr. Naisbit. Leg before wicket as always. What was he going to do? No sign of improvement there.
car 888. This is Leica trying to. Oh, as Critelli splits them right down the middle. Goes within 0.6 of a second of Vermeulen, so
Leica's
P2.
got a bit of traffic, or potentially a bit of slipstream down the start straight now.
I think he might use that slipstream.
Doesn't improve.
As qualifying is ending, this is the last lap for everybody. Got Adam Sharp, who was quite high up earlier on, dropped down to P7 for the time being. Goes P3, puts himself ahead of Leica momentarily.
I think this is one final push lap from Leica. I see it is flashing cars in front, but they are also on a lap as well.
Oh, as Townsend jumps 9 positions to P20. Well done him. Car 510. Robert has finished his lap. Car 46. Goes across the line 737. I can't find anybody for Toffee, mate.
So you got Mr. G Brown now. Oh no. Big spin. That's it, buddy. WRC style. Final corner. Love it. Car number 19, Jabino, who does have, I think, Eden behind him in the Mustang.
Jabino, P24 to P22. He's got a bit of work to do if he's going to finish that off. This is Leica, who is going to get another stab at this apple. He's going to have a bit of slipstream as he comes to the final turn, but it does seem to have unsettled him that little bit. Oh, as he gets a huge snap! Quite the final turn, and he, yeah, not the improvement I was looking for. This puts him a row behind Vermeulen, so he's got a lot of work to do to get caught up with his championship rival. But there you have it. There's still a couple of cars going around. It's car number 79. Even on a lap? Or are they just here for the donuts?
Here for the donuts, absolutely.
So Vermeulen, as commanding as ever, takes his second pole of the evening with an absolute monstrous time of a 1:31.134. Then we have a brilliant performance from Critelli in the silver tier, puts himself ahead of all the rest of the pro tier drivers in P2, followed by Sharp, followed by Leica, who you saw have that big snap at the end there. And Malotti in P5, exactly where he finished last race. And M. Grace brings himself a bit further up to start ahead of Brown this time, who's in P7. P2 in the silver tier of Eden, followed by Cooters in P3 in 8 and 9 respectively. Well, that's what happens when you push too hard, Brown. You can't drift everything with your handbrake. And, and we've got Nishelli just after Dirick. Nishelli in P11. We've got Haymans in P12, then Grafe P13, Karuna 14, Naismith 15. Now, we haven't had any amateur drivers yet, so that puts Kukumalakis in P16 and the pole for the amateur. So well done to him. He'll be starting slightly ahead of Kalugin, and then Richings, and then Chumakov's in the P3 position in the amateur. And Townsend is P20. Starting from P21 to P30, we've got Van Vlotten, Jabino, Colpitts, Serpentine, Van der Voort, Visser, Robert, Filomeno, Felix, and Thacker is your P30. And then we have Coppens, Hanley, Cablo, Trotman, De Wilt, and Chris Gedman down in P36. Just couldn't seem to hook his lap up together. So as we wait for all the drivers to adjust their setup, maybe, as it looks like the track is going to get that a little bit drier throughout the session, put a bit more fuel in, and then we will get up and away for your 40 minutes of the Red Bull Ring. Whew. So yeah, a bit of a mix up there, Retro. There's not quite how we started the last race.
Well, so Vermeulen, as you say, buddy, he's got maybe a bit of breathing room, but say Critelli is no sleeping duck to be messed with. I mean, he's got fantastic pace. I mean, to qualify P2, he's definitely got a bit of grunt to him. So whether Vermeulen can not have the same mistake as race 1, get his car out in front, keep it nice and clean, and not make any mistake, and so whether Leica can punch through and take the fight to him and give us an absolute great viewing for race 2, guys. So 40 minutes sprint, no qualifying, or sorry, no pit stop required. Switch my brain and my eyes back on. But say, just going through the pack here, say all the guys in the pro tier are in the white boxes, the silver tier are the slightly greyed boxes, and the red boxes are the AM tier, guys. Do let us know who you're rooting for, who's going to win it, spin it, bin it, all that fantastic stuff. And guys, do share the stream across all your platforms and social medias to get the channel absolutely everywhere you can, because these guys do put some absolute hard work into behind the scenes, server maintenance, crowd control, and all sorts of nursery babysitting for 36 drivers, but they are an absolute awesome place to be.
So we haven't got long left now for the drivers to put their foot back to the floor. Obviously, we do need your support. The Patreon is there for all who want to support the channel. We also, with your support, can turn the lights on for the racing when it comes around. It's about as lit as the track is at this point, with the garages open. But we'll look to put our X-ray goggles on so we can see onto the track and bring all the action for the drivers and all the dicing that they're doing in the dark. The drivers are getting ready to ready up around about now. As I've just seen, the track has just gone to damp.
30 seconds.
So that will very much change the complexion of the race. As far as I can tell, it's not currently raining. We'll obviously check that when we do get a few more closer shots, but it does not seem to be raining at this time. So the cars just moving up, as we've had 2 people already been booted to the pit lane for not readying up. That is a Mustang of Grafe, sorry, excuse me, and also Trotman.
Aaron 246, Mr. Trotman.
2 very experienced drivers. I did not expect that from them. Can't park there, mate.
Schoolboy error.
I mean, I know that in the previous race that we had drivers appreciating the Moses parting of the sea into turn 3, but you're starting from quite a way back, starting in the pit lane, and you've only got 40 minutes and no pit stops to make it up. So as we go diving through the dark, Vermeulen not having to worry about Leica's mind games this time around. He's far too far back. But Leica, with his straight line speed, should probably pick off these Aston Martins, these Hondas pretty quickly. So yeah, guys, if you've enjoyed the racing that you've seen so far this evening, if you consider yourself a racer yourself, then drop a like, drop a comment. Oh, as I say, you shouldn't have to worry about Leica's mind games. Through he goes. Drop a comment in the chat here, and an admin will reach out to you to show the information that you need to get involved, whether it's Assetto Corsa, Formula 1, Assetto Corsa Competizione, iRacing, anything sim racing related. FRL has got you covered. But we are almost underway now, only a few more corners to navigate, and we are not going anywhere for 40 minutes in the darkness, in the Styrian Hills. Looks like Leica is causing an absolute menace back there. But he does seem to have gone back in position now. So we will stay on board with Vermeulen. as we do have to let the timing boards correct themselves after the first sector. So as soon as he crosses that black and white line, we will be underway. We don't have much visibility, but we will have the chorus of roaring engines to lead us into the night. Vermeulen puts his foot down, and away he goes. Off he goes. And he comes across immediately. Leica immediately to the inside. He looks like he's going to get both Hondas into the first end, but he's going to make it 3 wide. Looks like Brown goes a little deep.
That was sharp. They went across deep there, across the track there, mate.
Oh, as we've got cars on the grass as well.
BMW.
As Vermeulen fires into the distance, Leica's done a great job of getting those 2 moves done very, very quickly. And he can go immediately chasing after Vermeulen. So great launch there. Like I said, we do have to wait for the timing boards, as we do have a crash in the background. That's car 334. Who was that? That's Kalugin. So Kalugin fallen from P12 with car 51. That was Durick. 2 cars that were originally quite far placed away from each other. Can only presume one of them went into...
So the start of that, buddy, direct before the timing thing does update, was P9. So how we got involved in that, we don't know.
So now we've got another Aston Martin mixed in with this. And Vermeulen already going defensive despite having almost 2-second gap. We've got Adam Sharp getting a little... loses the rear a little bit out of the penultimate bend. Gets away. He was originally putting a lot of pressure on Critelli and the Aston Martin. I've got a fit. Look at how dry the track is. Dry.
It's gone greasy. But heavy rain is scheduled very soon. So we do. Drivers there that do listen to a stream, you've heard sneaky insight to what's going to happen. Not that we condone streaming whilst driving.
As I'm just picking up Grace, very, very close on the back of Sharp here. I'm starting to wonder, is there any people on the wet tyres currently? Looking for a move down the inside, then she backs out, but then further back, that was somebody making a move into turn 4. Sharp coming back again on Critelli, almost pushing him around turn 6. Leica really putting the hammer down. He's really closing on Vermeulen. Do have to wonder, is Vermeulen on the right tyre? The Sharp now looking to the outside of the Aston of Critelli. Vermeulen going a long way to try and clean his treat his tyres. And I can see a dry line on the track, so it looks like it still is a bit of dampness on this track for those that maybe went to the wet tyre.
Honestly, but it was a bit of carnage towards the back there. I think Jabino Naisbet involved in some sort of issue on the final corner there.
There's Jabino currently letting a Bentley through. As he now comes back at him as he takes the exit pretty well. I can only presume that's Cablo that he's fighting, but Cablo in the Bentley badge.
Also P12, you've got Vlotten and Van der Waal.
Oh, as they touch down the straight. But then through on the inside goes Vlotten.
Van der Waal. Van der Waal's a slightly darker car. I know it's a little bit difficult to see, buddy, but yeah, Van der Waal is the car in front now.
As car 36 has had an incident. Who is that?
Coppins
Coppins is
doing a bit of
round.
donuts on the side of the track there.
Well, you don't
I
often
think
get
we've
to make
missed something
sandcastles
as
in
well.
there.
Sharp is in the pits.
Is he damaged?
I don't know, buddy, but say the gap from now, Vermeulen to like it, is 2.2 seconds.
There must be a...
Oh, who was that just went off at turn 1? 717, Haymans.
I think there's a few people on the wrong tyres here. As we've just seen somebody, yeah, exiting the turn. That is 71. Van der Voort is in the wall.
Van der Waal in the wall looking for some marshals for having a punch up.
As he now has to regain speed. He went to go and find Larry. In the dark.
Why didn't we call him Larry?
I was trying to think of a traditional Austrian name that began with L. It just didn't come to me. Let's pick up Malotti chasing down Eden. Eden doing a great job getting himself into P5. So many of these gaps getting bigger now.
But speaking of gaps getting bigger, we've got Thacker chasing down Gedman for P17 there.
Oh, as that's...
Thacker's got a great line there.
Yeah, Gedman went quite wide.
Oh, we've got Brown behind him.
Oh, this could end in
Not sure
tears.
what happened to Brown though, because Brown qualified quite high up.
I'm unsure, but he needs to get a bit between his teeth. He's going to make something of this now. It's a lot of positions lost. He's got time to correct it to a certain degree.
So it's definitely a cork in the bottle, because you've got Hanley and Jabino just right behind those two battling it out.
So we've got Karuna trying to overtake Cooters down the main straight. And Karuna does get the inside, but then Cooters on the outside finds a lot of speed to fight this one back. But then speed loses out. I think that curb on the outside was a bit wet, didn't get the traction he was looking for. But now switches left and right, and back to the left. Tries to open the corner up to turn 4.
So slightly further down, we've got Derek and Van der Waal going at it on the exit of turn 3. Down into turn 4.
And turn they go.
Lovely move from Derek there. Great on the brakes.
Oh, as we've got Robert
Oh.
with, is that Gedman?
No, that is Trotman and Q Robert.
It was the light strips over the roof that got me.
Ah, amateur hour.
Yeah, tell me about it. As we've just picked up Malotti again, who's been just chipping away at this gap to Eden. It's now underneath 4 tenths. And he's closing massively coming into turn 3. He's already switched to the inside. Will he have the bravery on the brakes? I think he does, you know. Through he goes. Wow, what a dive. What a move. Eden, so much confidence over the brakes of that Mustang. And he finds the traction on the outside as well and gets away. Richings up. He's trying to make a move on Karuna. Slots into a reasonable position going into turn 4. Grave still defending from
So
Thacker.
further down the field, we've got P27 and P28. We've got De Wild and Visser.
This is trying to go round the outside. Into turn 4. Oh no, the Porsche's still there. Porsche gets ahead. Oh, but then goes a little bit deep. Will this invite Visser back in? As the Ferrari then bounds over the turn 7 curb. And this invited Naisbitt. We've been here before, I feel. Naisbitt, like taking candy from a baby, slips through in this penultimate turn.
And Colpitt's also making advantage of that as well. Visser bleed. Sorry, was that DeWild? That was DeWild actually that lost out on those positions.
Oh, and further ahead, we do have a Porsche. That's Kalugin in turn 1. We just managed to get past Townsend in the McLaren. And then Townsend coming back. He's going to try his brakes into turn 3. Backs out at the last second.
Oh no, but look at the traction here. Kalugin went quite deep there. McLaren might get a better drive.
No, Townsend just
better.
might have his nose to the inside. The track opens up. The Porsche. Has he made that stick? No, he hasn't.
Right.
It's gone too deep and Townsend has slipped back through. Eden closing back on Molotti and now starting to create a bit of a train for P5. But Cooter's behind, keeping him honest. Cooter's in the Ferrari. He's attempting to do the impossible, get past Eden in this newly highly appreciated Ford Mustang. Seems to pick up a good slipstream, good traction. He's got pressure from both sides though. He can't get it done, Eden. Karuna happily have it, but then Eden's gone deep. But then Cooter's had to lift off the power, and that's going to slow him down coming down the straight. Karuna's gone. But now, is this not Richings? It is.
So Karuna's in the McLaren, Cooter's in the Ferrari.
And Karuna
Eden
has got
in the
2
McLaren.
positions
Sorry,
in the
must
space
have
of 2 corners.
Great driving from Karuna there.
Just saw Cooters get caught up underneath Eden. And
Ooh, Eden nearly got a bit closer to Ferrari there.
Eden not giving this up. But the fight ahead has allowed Richings and Michele to catch up as well. So we've got a 5-car train here for P6. Which is great to see.
Oh, slightly further down the field we've got Townsend and Kalugin picking up the pieces. And I see that's Naisbitt as well involved. Stopped on track, not quite sure what happened there on the exit of turn 4.
Car number 9 that was, that's been caught up in that. Yeah, Townsend now limping through these turns, trying to get his legs back underneath him. Now DeRick has caught up with Brown and has got a fantastic drive to the first turn. What sort of pressure can he put on Brown here? He seems to be bump drafting him down towards turn 3. Brown has gone very defensive very early on. So DeRick to the outside. He's going to get his nose ahead for the outside, but Brown, has he played this tactically well? Has he found traction on the inside? He's done well initially to get back ahead. So yeah, well done by Brown, keeping DeRick behind, if it's only momentarily.
I'd say got a good fight between Richins and Michele there. Michele is catching just slightly on the back of Richins there for P8.
And Kutas has not given up on Karuna. He'll feel like that Karuna hasn't fully earned that, seeing as he's taken it whilst Kutas was trying to take other positions. But now Karuna also closed up on Molotti. So this is now a fight for P5. Thacker also catching up on Grace. Traction versus power. Am versus Pro. So come down towards turn 3. So Nishelli lining up Richings for a move into turn 4. He swerved left, swerved right. I don't think the space is quite there. He tucks back in again. But these battles need to happen if this group's ever going to disperse. You can see them just in the middle of the track map there, all so close together. Because Richings has dropped off of Cooters just that little bit. You can see the on-track difference there. Cooters continuing to push on with Karuna. And I've just picked up Thacker. He's just thrown a few shapes at Grave. This Am versus Pro battle in the middle of the pack still wages on. And I've got Derrick and Brown. Still. Also, that's
So
Derrick
just
ahead of
watching
Brown.
some of the gaps between some of the drivers. So we have had Grace get under a second to Critelli now. So at this point of time, buddy, I think it's safe to say that Vermeulen has clocked out at the minute. Last time I saw it was 5.5 seconds to Leica, which is now 5.7.
Oh, as that was somebody off the track there that Richings just taken advantage of. Can I presume that was Karuna? Nishelli. So Nishelli has dropped down to P10 now. Now Eden's getting put under pressure by Nishelli. Cuts off his nose into the penultimate turn. Nishelli's not careful, also get pressure from Heymans. And he is. Ferrari on Ferrari into the first turn. This huge gaggle of cars is going to descend onto turn 3. Eden tries to throw one down the outside. Oh, as then one of the
Who's
Ferraris has
that?
to avoid.
Nishelli.
Yeah, Nishelli just totally messed up his braking, went fast over the turn to avoid his fellow drivers, which is appreciated. Sorry if anybody can hear my cat.
Mine just did the old usual stream check-up.
As
A bit of fuss.
as Grace, I think if I've just seen that right, has just overtaken Critelli for P3.
So the battle was hotting up. I did watch them go into turn 3, and Critelli got a great drive out of turn 3, so I didn't think Grace would have been anywhere near close to making a move, but great move from Grace. Sorry we missed it, buddy.
Critelli's not quite let him go, so there may
So-
still be a podium in this for him. Well, it's a
Getting
win
back
for his
to
tier.
spicy stuff. Karuna tried making a move round the outside of Malotti into turn 1. Karuna's still there, running down to turn 3.
Yeah, he's really not letting him go. does seem the more confident of the two drivers in this current phase of the race as we approach halfway. But it does look like Karuna's gone to a bit of management. As further back, Nishelli and Vlotten coming into turn 4. Looking around the bend, but looks like Nishelli has gone wide and allowed Van Vlotten through.
Still a long way to go.
Three more drivers are starting to settle into their race now. Robert has found himself closing on Colpitts for P22. Eden on Richings. Surely they must have wet tyres on to see the amount of management they're doing. As we saw a car just ahead of Eden and Richings go wide. That was Cooters, I believe.
I don't think so.
No, it was Karuna. Karuna under massive pressure from Richings. Is that Richings also getting Eden there? So now the battle for P7 has been reignited with the mistake from Karuna. And we go to this battle for P10 and 11 again. And Vlotten just seems to have Nishelli under control, as close as he is following. I'm going to stay on board with him just for a moment because this gap doesn't seem to be getting any bigger. Nishelli really pushing Van Vlotten along. He goes to the inside to see if he can take him through turn 2, to the penultimate bend. It's these straights he really needs to concentrate on. So use a slipstream to really unsettle him into turn 1. But he's going to go for it early. He's got every right to. His nose is ahead. He's on the inside. And he gets a good drive out the corner. He could have maybe blocked him off on the exit. Him giving him space has now allowed Van Vlotten to get back into slipstream. And he's going to push him all the way to turn 3. Can Van Vlotten find his brakes down the inside? He's certainly going to try it. He's there. He's found the inside line. But cannot make it stick. So Nishelli has got that position. As we see Tablet AC saying, come on, fella Menno.
Sorry, buddy. Richings has gone very deep on the exit of turn 4 there. He's just lost 2-3 places in that battle from Cooters, Karuna and Eden there as well.
So we'll see when the time screen updates. As car 888, that's Leica. Leica has spun. In the last turn, he's spun. How has that affected his race? As we see a Bentley go into the pits, Leica does not look in good shape. Leica really struggling with his car, and that's him dancing and diving off the track. That car is not in a good way.
Ooh, he's definitely struggling there because Grace came round turn 1 at full racing speed and Leica was just sitting there. I think he's definitely done for the night now, but he's letting cars pass left, right and centre.
Yeah, I mean, that is... You often say Aston, as he's still fighting with other cars. As we expect to return to the pits now. Yeah, it's such a shame. This does now promote Grace into P2 and Gratelli into P3. And Malotti into P4.
So the timing screen's not updated, but we've got Eden and Richings going at it. Oh, and who's that? Karuna's gone off on the exit turn 4 like Richings did last lap. These guys are definitely starting to struggle now, buddy. We've got stop go 30 seconds for car 84, which I believe is Cablo. It is.
It is. So cars really starting to ail in the darkness. As Eden now jumps up to P6. Richings close behind. And that Heymans is only just ahead of them in a Ferrari. Hasn't got much prospects of catching Malotti. Unless there's a Leica style incident.
Well, speaking of Leica style, you've got Handley and Jay Thacker battling it out for P18.
So yeah, Thacker looking like he's got a lot of car control here in this Porsche. Handley goes defensive into the penultimate turn. Not always necessary. It's pretty hard to overtake around the outside. Thacker takes the preferable line through. He can nail this final turn. Might have a real chance to set something up fast through turn 1 and then alongside into turn 3. Half for second is the gap here. We've got close battles behind as well, but we'll see this one's conclusion as Handley goes deep. Thacker almost follows him. But what does this mean for their exit speeds? Handley does come out a substantial bit ahead, actually. Do wonder if he's got track limits for that, because that's definitely given an advantage over Thacker in that sequence.
Quite possibly, but just behind that, buddy, you've got Colpitts and Q Robert down the straight into turn 3. Colpitts having a bit of a snap in the BMW boat.
But he's trying at him again. So battles starting to emerge in little pockets of the racetrack here. We're going to try and cover as many as we can. And Robert really not letting this one go. He had an opportunity. He doesn't want it to wait. He thinks about a big move into turn 6.
I think
Robert
Richings is really starting to struggle. Just watching him go around the final corner there. I think just washed out and smashed into the barrier on the exit of the final corner. Not quite sure how he's done that, but he's still driving though.
Van Vleuten looks a lot closer than 2.7 seconds. He's knocked about 7/10 off that.
But keeping an eye on this gap from Eden to Heymans, it's now just under a second. The battle for the silver tier top 3 drivers. I mean, Critelli, fantastic job. He's got a fair gap between him and his rival Heymans. So Eden and Heymans are going to be battling out for P2 and P3, I believe.
I believe we've had a move. And Thacker may have overtaken Handley in this sequence. He's got a little way to go to Van der Waal, so he does need to just need to escape Handley fairly sharpish. So Eden still pushing on, but it does look like Heymans just driving quite well, managing this gap. All gaps at this point in the race are starting to get a little bit bigger. We've had a few drivers that have really dropped out of contention. Cablo, Coppens and Sharp have all taken big damage, whether it be penalties or whether it be actual car damage. Handley on Thacker, about 6/10 now. Both drivers driving absolutely impeccably. Same
I think
with
Filomeno had a moment there on the final corner. Sorry, buddy, I just noticed the yellow flag and I saw the lead of the Mulin going around the final corner, and I thought there was an incident between him and the leader, but no. In Vermeulen's stride, he just sweeps around the incident and just carries on.
So Filomeno has got car number 20. That's Gedman behind him.
Gedman's down in P28, so...
I believe he'd be a lap down then.
Yeah.
Just seems to be pushing him up a bit. We go back to Robert on Colpitts in P20, trying to chase down P19. Another driver that seems to be pushing somebody along. But Robert wants to get this move done so he can chase down the last few podium positions in his tier. He's got the time to do it, he gets a move on. But he's not alone. He's got Visser just behind him. This exit is crucial, but Visser looks like he's the one that's aced it out of the three. Will Visser spoil Robert's party? There's a crucial battle for him as well here. If he can get past Robert, he can maybe move on to Colpitts. But neutral for now. I'm picking up Van Vlotten. Been very close to Richings. That seems to have reasonably dissipated at this time, as he goes wide out the exit penultimate turn. Eden within half a second of Heyman's. Oh, so close coming around the first corner. And they've got Shelley in tow as well. That wasn't the case a few laps ago. Just far enough now to not be considered too much of a threat, but that will change potentially within just a couple of corners. Potentially that corner, and Shelley, I think, had to stay out from behind the back of the Ford of Eden. Momentarily went alongside him, but coming out from underneath the slipstream of that Ford is really detrimental to your top speed. It's got a huge wing on the back of it.
As I say to our good friend who uses the Mustang, I mean, it makes his own DRS, it's that big on the rear wing.
So, Retro in P4 and 3, well, Critelli and Malotti separate by only about a car's length. And I think Malotti can see an opportunity arising.
So there's no reason for Critelli to let Malotti past. Every position's worth fighting for.
Especially with Heyman's, you can see him in the back of the shot there. He's ready to pounce if Critelli loses a bunch of time trying to be courteous to the tier above. So we're going to see how this one goes, and then we're going to go back down to Cooters and Richings because they're super close. It doesn't look like Malotti's going to make a move here. So Cooters really sizing up Richings. This is going to be late if he goes into turn 1. Oh, when he slides off and goes round. We just caught that in shot. He's backwards at turn 1. I think Richings saw it coming. Richards went deep and avoided well. So Cooters now back on track. Comes in behind Kukumalakis. Eden on Heyman's. Has just been pushed back a little bit. It's still a close gap, one to be respected, one that you still need to push to keep the driver behind. No easy re-advance defensive moves here, but it looks like Shelley He's going to get a move on Eden before he even gets a chance on Heymans. Into the penultimate turn they go. And how's Eden done on that bend? Didn't look great. Look, he bounded the curve that little bit. Yeah, this has definitely dropped Eden back into Nishelli's grasp. Turn 1 is so crucial here. Doesn't like Nishelli did just drift a little bit out to the curb. And that just neutralises the threat momentarily. Up ahead, a threat that's not neutralised is Malotti on Critelli. McLaren hunts the Aston Martin into turn 4. Around this section, which is some of the tightest ones on the track, you won't make much headway. Eden has found some confidence to close back up to Heymans after his momentary scare with Nishelli. But again, that middle section, the Mustang just seems he doesn't like it.
4 yellow flagged. Who is that? 334 Kalugin facing the wrong way on the final corner. Does seem to get himself going for the last couple of minutes.
This might be a problem for our battle just coming through here. He does get up and going again, but these guys are going to catch him pretty fast. Kalugin is lapping traffic, so he should move out the way of this. But then the Ford goes deep.
Mistake.
Surely this is...
Shelley says thank you very much.
And we're still waiting for Kalugin to fully take himself out of the way. But there he is. It's good management of the blue flags for Kalugin. Kokovalakis is silently been chasing down Chumakovs. This is Porsche versus McLaren. Kokovalakis really looks like he's got the bit between his teeth. I said that he definitely looks like he's on a hunt. Spear in hand, ready to take down Chumakovs. And with this pace that both of these two are pushing on, they look like they're going to catch Richings very, very quickly. There's not much time with this race left. Only 2 minutes. As we've seen so far, like with Leica, like with Brown, this race can change in an instant. So Malotti, as close as he's been, way out of turn 3, he's found good traction on Critelli. We know how fast that Aston is in a straight line. One of, if not the fastest car in the game. But they go in very neutral into turn 4. So we should be getting the message for leader on final lap any moment now. So this is crunch time. This is where the drivers earn their respect. What can you come across the line with? What moves can you make defensively or aggressively under pressure? Malotti's got some work to do. Can he put it down? Can he get it done? And Malotti pushing on. He's the exit of all exits, but he hasn't. He's missed the apex. He's gone a bit deep, a bit of a sideways drift, and he's lost all the momentum he was looking for to go after Critelli. You see the gap grows ever so slightly.
Ooh, a couple more cars struggling. Car 160. And there was another car, 133, I believe, just
Van
struggling in this
Vlotten
last part of the race.
and Visser. There's Vermeulen rounding his final turns, and he's going to come home to win this one in a class act of the field tonight. Obviously, he was unfortunate to miss out on the win in race 1 due to incidents, but there you go. He's got the race 1 win. Very respectable coming home for M. Grace in the BMW. With Critelli and Malotti not too far in tow. Well done to Grace here. Go board with Malotti. Doesn't look at the final turn. He's going to have a chance to overtake Critelli. Haymans did eventually build a decent enough gap to see off Michele. And we have Grafe, who has been in the wars tonight. Just come home with a good result in P8. And Richings as well. And he's been hard fought that P9. Got Kukamalakis, who takes the AM win, as does Critelli take the silver win, as does Vermeulen take the pro win. We have Cooters in P11. Brown in P12, so good recovery drive for him. So it does stand as a night to forget, but fought back from the back of the grid. G. Brown sends his car to try and meet the fireworks in the sky. So Van Vlotten in P13, Van der Waal P14, Chumakov's P15, Colpitts P16, Handley P17, Robert P18, Thacker P19, and Visser P20. And for those who went to the end of the race, it was Filomeno, Townsend, Trotman, Kalugin, De Wilt, Jovino, and Gedman. Everybody else had multiple laps down by the end, which is a shame for Karuna, Leica, Cablo, De Rig, Naiswick, Coppens, Serpentine, Sharp, Felix. So yeah, it's a shame for them, but I'm sure they'll be happy to move on to next week after that. So yeah, great result for Vermeulen, takes home the fastest lap as well. So yeah, it's been super fun. Hard to pick out in the dark, but from what we could see, we had good fun. So if I had to give a driver of the day for this evening, who would it be?
I think it's a tough one. I think where you got race 1 and race 2 combined as well. I mean, it's tough to pick one driver from each tier from, say, a 20-minute race to a 40-minute race as well.
I think for consistency in the pro tier, I'd have to go for Nishelli, cementing himself towards the front of the grid for both races. I think is quite admirable. So my pro tier one would go to him. The silver tier, probably.
I don't think you can not give it to Critelli.
I mean, what a result there for Critelli. And for the AM tier, hard to not give it to Kukamalakis. I mean, I'm pretty sure that second race he came from so far back, and yeah, up to P10, finishing in the P10. He just overall, let alone to win his race, it's a great job. So I give my AM tier driver of the day to him. But no, as we have a guest in our midst. Welcome in.
Hello everyone, I'm in a mood, so...
We saw you
have we got to get the bleeper button ready?
No, I've already done my anger management in between race 1 and 2.
You didn't go out and find Larry like Vanderwall. He'd already had a battering from Vanderwall.
No, listen, that was a heated race. I've just been in a party chat with about 9 people, and they're all shouting and swearing, and it's been very stressful, I think, for everybody. Especially that last race, those conditions were in between dry and wets the entire time.
We were. So, out of the drivers that you were speaking to, what was the tyre choice going in?
Richings, Naisbitt, Grafe all took dries. Gedman and myself took wets.
Because we did see drivers going over on the pit straight to try and get some moisture, but we did see a few early position changes, so we figured there must be a differential here.
Yeah, there definitely was. I think not in pace, but in terms of drivability. The lap 1, the wets were superior. Like the traction out of the slow corners was incredible. But then I think they just overheated. Like my rear tyres were red by the end of lap 1.
I can only presume that's what Leica was on then, because the launch he got at the start was insane. Immediately overtook 2 cars and was on Vermeulen within an instant on what I assume were wet tyres, and then just as he didn't pit, clearly overheated, had a big incident about halfway through the race and didn't come back out. So it's a shame to see that happen to him, but clearly took the advantage of the wet tyres early on and just didn't play out.
Yeah, I mean it's strange. I've been in the server maybe 8-9 times since it was set up, and dries have never been the correct choice, which is why I stuck with my wets. But honestly, they just overhit. They got so warm. I was running traction control at level 8 for most of the race. It still wasn't enough to keep the back end in check. That final corner was getting so many people today. I don't know if you caught many people, but I was opposite lock around there almost every lap.
Did I catch you? I'm pretty sure I caught you on stream giving the pit wall barrier a bit of a kiss.
Which race?
Race 1, I
It
think.
happened in both.
Did it? It's good of you to own up to it.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's that Honda. It's so good in the wet. It's good everywhere on this track, apart from those last 2 corners. It's just the camber. I think it just doesn't like it, and the back end just wants to step out. But you know what? It was refreshing to see that it does have pace. Like I've been struggling with it all year, all season, and to see it now.
We were very impressed with your qualifying. Almost surprised, where you managed to drag that to in qualifying. We apologised in advance for how we assumed that you'd done it in the commentary.
It's all light-hearted banter. I mean, I don't know how many people watching ticked off their bingo cards, but you know, we have a giggle, you have a giggle, we all have a giggle. But I mean, for you to be 4/10 up on your lap to then say bin it on that lap, mate, you'd have been up there at least top row, second row, if you'd have kept that pace up, and that'd have been phenomenal.
Yeah, I worked it out. If I'd lost 1/10 in the final corner, I would have been second still. And I tried to push it to go for pole. Completely pointless. Did not need to do that because Vermeulen beat his lap time again later on.
Yeah, speaking of the devil, he's just dropped a comment saying, "Hello, elbow cough" in the comments. So he's had quite an evening. Race two, he's walked away with it, but I think you're going to be hearing from him about incidents in race 1.
I think the stewards room's going to be very busy. Like I said, I've had the privilege of hearing a chat, so it sounds like it's going to be very interesting over the next couple of days to see. Well, I get to see all the incidents, which is good fun. So,
which is weird because we actually didn't see that many driver-on-driver incidents, I don't think.
I mean, apart from the odd door-to-door and wheel-to-wheel and this and that, but I mean, I think the biggest one probably there maybe, say, just that final lap between Vermeulen and Leica and race 1, race 2, there was the odd, say once again, door-to-door, going off track, elbow to elbow. I mean, it's all fair racing, but I mean, where do you draw the line on it to then obviously
Yeah.
then start getting people involved and X, Y, and Z. But
That's
I mean,
his
it's
job.
like,
Oh no,
Well, I
I'm
mean-
retired. I'm retired from stewarding. I don't do it anymore. I think
But
it's
no,
more
just to-
rejoins than incidents
yeah,
themselves.
just to touch on it though, obviously, I know without giving too much away, you're probably going to see it anyway. After one of the incidents between obviously Leica and Vermeulen, Leica spun Vermeulen and just basically stopped on the start straight right before the finish line to give him the place back, which he stopped on a live track.
Yeah, I mean, he should have stopped a bit earlier because I finished a 10th behind him. But
I mean, yeah, I think that was the thing for you. I think if you didn't have that nosebleed race one, mate, you could have taken the win there.
that's exactly how I would describe that. That wasn't even a Honda thing. That was self-inflicted. I hit the yellow curb on the inside at full throttle, and it just
Oh,
did not like it. The
schoolboy
Bentley would
error.
have went. The Bentley would have went round if I hit that at that speed. Never mind the Honda. So that was just pressure. 3 minutes
if
to
you'd
go.
taken that in the Bentley, the curb would have bounced off the Bentley.
Yeah, I'd have flattened the curb. Yeah.
We did have a few people that came a cropper to the turn one curb. We also almost had a Viking execution into turn three in was it race
Bautista?
two? I think it was
Oh,
race
yes,
two.
it was Nishelli, wasn't it?
Yeah, and to admit, he did the right thing ultimately. He opened his braking and went straight on, and didn't try and take the corner.
Oh dear.
Hello.
Right, yeah.
Uh-oh, no matter what you say
we've
about
been
him,
joined.
we got to be nice about him now. He only won the race by about 25 seconds.
Right, I'll leave you guys in the very capable hands of our race 2 winner. Jared, I'll leave you with the guys. Thanks very much again for stepping on the commentary tonight. And yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it back. Cheers,
You're
guys.
very welcome. Let us know how you're doing your bingo card.
I will do. Thanks. Bye.
Right. So, Jazzman, welcome to the commentary box. It's well done, first of all. Don't be like that. He says he feels like a villain. It's all love. We just we just
He's
poke
not a
fun for
villain.
commentary. Nothing like that at all.
No.
That's it. It happened very much off camera. The way the cameras were panning, we actually didn't see the contact. So you'd have to fill us in what happened there if you can give us a word picture for race one.
Him and me were having like connection issues. So he was disappearing on track, and also rubber banding. So I sent him a message saying that all the incidents are just down to that, quite frankly, because we had a couple of weird moments. Like it wasn't great to go racing like that. That's why I said there's no hard feelings, because it's not easy to go racing when there's a connection issue between two drivers. So, I mean, we both had our moments, and he didn't have to stop, really. I appreciate it, but he could have gone on, because for me, there was nothing really either of us could have done. Like, I think maybe that also was down to a connection, rubber banding, our incident, our two incidents, both down to that. So, no hard feelings on race one. Race two was a bit lonely.
So race 2 was like a Sunday drive for you, wasn't it?
So, crucially, to set the scene for us, what tyres did you choose for race 2? Because it did seem to be a bit here and there amongst the grid.
Wets, man, all the way. Every
Oh,
time.
wow.
That's because you could see it increasing. So the first 10 minutes was a greasy track, so dries would have been quicker. But they only would have been quicker by 1 second, second and a half maybe. And then after that, when you got to about the 28-minute mark, more rain came. And then that's when the track went back to damp. So going on dries was a risky call when you could see that increase of rain was coming. So I just went with the dries and the wets, and just struggled along trying to look after the tires. It wasn't what you would call a fun race, because you had to go over the track and try to keep your tires in some.
We did start to wonder. I think that's how we were starting from the commentary position, at least. Started to work out maybe who had chosen what, because when Leica managed to jump the two cars fantastically at the start of race 2, to try and keep you honest throughout the race. Then to see, I think it was about just under a 2 second gap for the first few laps, and we still saw you going over to the pit wall to get that moisture in the tyres. And thinking, okay, there's only two explanations for this. One is that he's defending, which is not likely, and the second is that you're looking for moisture. So we sort of worked out
Yeah.
that you're probably on the wets, but and
Yeah.
we also thought that Leica would have been on the wets as well. I
Yes.
can see
Yes.
in the
He
comments.
was. Yeah. He was definitely on wet tires. Looking at his pace. He was also definitely on wets. Like I said, the first 2 laps was obviously wets were quicker. Then you had like a 4-5 lap window where the dries were quicker, and then after that, it was just wets all the way. So I don't know what happened to him. He was 7 seconds behind me, and then
Yeah, he
all of a
span off
sudden
at
he was gone.
the penultimate turn. I think it was about the 25-minute mark. So I presume
Yeah.
this was in the driest part of the race, maybe just before the rain came.
Yeah.
So
I was wondering what happened to him because I had a moment with a back marker myself, which cost me 6 seconds. So maybe I thought it was a back marker, but he was there and then he wasn't.
well, that's the thing. We only managed to check on him once we saw the yellow flag out for him, so we couldn't say exactly. I'm assuming he can tell you better than we can exactly how it played out, but it was a shame not to
Yeah.
see the battle repeated for race 2.
Yes. I mean, I think I was lucky to be ahead. I was ahead, and I had a clean start. The other Aston was quite generous with me. I don't know if that's because he was a silver driver. He allowed me to have the whole corner to myself. So I'll buy him a beer if I ever meet him in real life for that. But other than that, I thought I would be okay to manage the gap with Leica. But when the wets were completely red, the rears, and there was a couple of poo moments, even for me in a Ferrari, which is the best in those type of conditions, the Ferrari. So
I don't know. The Lambo's pretty decent.
Yeah, the Lambo is pretty decent. I've driven them both, but I would always lean to the Ferrari in those type of
This is the point where I make an admission. I raced with you once in the same server, and I remember your Lamborghini lapping me. I was in a Mercedes, and I heard the sound of that thing. I thought, I've got to have myself some of that, and I've had the Lamborghini ever since.
All right, so you were there when I was even driving the Lambo, yeah.
Yeah.
I tend to just hop around to which, in my opinion, is the best car. So at that stage, the Lambo definitely was the best car in my opinion, and now I think the Ferrari is the best car. But in those conditions, I think in an Aston, in those interchangeable conditions, he was doing well to keep it on track.
Now, talk us through the qualifying lap for race 2, because that was one hell of a marker. How special did that feel in the cockpit?
It was that one of my first ones, right? That I nailed. I
think it was his second lap, I think.
Yeah, even on a fully wet track, and then I only improved it by half a second at the end on a much drier track. It did feel good. It was just one of those where it's just under the limit, but you nail everything. It was a good lap. I mean, I was surprised when I went back to the pits, and then I was still in the lead when I still had pole by a tiny bit when the track dried up, and I was like, okay, that was a fairly good marker. So it's just one of those nice laps, when you don't.
I mean, you were keeping about 9/10 for about half the session until eventually I think it got taken down to about 5/6 I think eventually was the gap.
Yeah. I invalidated my last lap like a muppet, and I was up a bit. And
oh goodness me!
and I went, oh no, what a muppet! So then I pulled in, and I was like, oh well, let's hope nobody improves too much. You still worry when the track's drying up, no matter what lap time you set. It's if it dries enough, anybody can beat that.
Well, you're making quite a mark on this championship. Only God throwing down thunderbolts has really stopped you from winning every single race. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I was just happy to keep it on track today because at Mazzano, I don't know what happened with my setup. I was just aquaplaning everywhere. After the first race, I was like, I'll be happy to get through the second race with like doing 4 spins, and I did like 9 and crashed. So I was
Well, I
like,
think if
okay.
I remember correctly, I think on Mazzano, I think you was backwards more than you was forwards. I think, to be
Indeed,
honest.
man, I went into a breaking point and the thing was like, nope, goodbye.
Yeah, I think that's the call. Yeah, going into turn one, I think you was backwards before turn one under
Yeah,
the heavy braking.
man, any zone of heavy braking, I was like, what's gonna happen with this car? I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know. That's never happened to me, and I've driven on flooded tracks before, and
yeah.
I was like, yeah, this should be fine, but I don't know what
So
happened.
is your if you could make one wish upon a star for the admins, is it that the next Super Sprint Sunday is dry? Do you
Uh,
want to float that out there now?
I mean, I don't mind. I don't mind. Whatever the weather is, I don't mind if it's wet or dry. But I would like if there wasn't, because we've had some extremes this season. We've had Mazzano, which was a freak. It was fun. Then we had, I think, race 2 was dry, if I'm not mistaken. And
It
then we've
was.
had this sort of like, is it wet? Is it dry? So let's see what next week has. But hopefully it's either just a dry race or just a fully wet race. Nothing in between. Because driving in these conditions, I think I speak for most drivers. It's not that fun because you got your rear tires if you're on wets in the red and you're sliding everywhere and your rear wants to come round, and if you're on the dries, you've taken a risk, you're feeling good after 6 minutes thinking I've made the right call, and then more rain comes.
So just the one final one from me. The next track up and coming is Watkins Glen. How do you fancy your chances around there?
Yes, I like Watkins Glen. I've done a few races already this year around there, so it'll be nice. I can just arrive and drive, and I've got a good setup. So I'm looking forward to it, Watkins Glen, and also it's a good place to race as well. So
It is. It's never treated me anything other than like I've done something horrible to it. But we'll look forward to seeing you going well around there. But there you are, guys. For all those that were hoping that he wouldn't be happy with the next round, he's plenty happy and he's motivated and he's got a good setup. So good luck, everybody else. um, and yeah, we'll hopefully catch you all ready and raring to go on the next one. And we're hoping, from a commentary perspective at least, that it's bright so we can actually see all your lovely liveries once again. So thank you so much for joining us, Jazzman, in the commentary box. Hopefully, I imagine we'll see a bit more of you as the season goes through.
yeah,
And
if you want, I can jump in for a race and commentary booth with you if you're
that'd be wonderful. But yeah, we're gonna
keen.
finish up here. But thank you for joining us. Have a good evening. So yeah, thank you everybody at home for joining in with the commentary this evening, through the comments, through just watching, sharing the stream with your friends and family. We hope to see you all next week, same time once again for Super Sprint Sunday. Yeah, I've been the Woofafa. He's been Retro Ghost. Have a good night.
I have indeed. Absolutely. Good night.